Hi there foodies, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe to be notified of future videos. Hi, my name is Nadine from Top Nosh and today I would like to do a vegan recipe, and this will be a vegan moussaka. We're gonna start with our aubergine, as we have to cut it and then actually put some salt over so this will draw out all the bitterness. And then while this is doing this, we're gonna chop all our ingredients and then we will be ready to cook. Let's start. Now I have cut all my aubergine, so I'm going to add some salt, and the salt will draw out all the bitterness from the aubergine. So you could do this and leave this for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I usually leave it like 10 minutes up to half an hour, so then it will become nice. Yes, it is quite a lot of salt. And now we're going to start cutting all our vegetables and then let's cooking. So as you can see, my carrots I don't want to cut too small because I still want to have a bit of crunchiness in, but you don't want to make it too big, otherwise they will be not cooked when your dish is ready. So when I'm now cutting my baby marrow, this one I want to keep slightly bigger because it will cook much faster. So that means I'm still keeping my vegetables cooked more or less at the same time. I'm using red onions because red onions are nicer in flavor. They're a little bit more on the sweet side. If you don't have red onions, you can use normal onions as well. So now all my ingredients are cut, and luckily I have some garlic paste, so I don't need to chop my garlic, but obviously you can chop your garlic as well. Let's start cooking, and as you could see, this time I didn't put everything into different bowls because it's quite a lot of ingredients and it's too much time consuming washing up everything, so that's why it's nice if you want to use a tray and you can actually cut all your ingredients onto a tray and then it creates much less washing up. Let's put our pot on and we are cooking with a little bit of olive oil just for the flavor of it, otherwise you could use normal oil as well if you like. I'm going to add first my onions, and I don't want to get it too hot, so I'm just going to saute them on a very low heat. My garlic is much finer, so that's why I'm going to add it a little bit at a later stage. So if I'm looking at my ingredients, I've got carrots here. So carrot is a root vegetable, and carrots you can always add right at the beginning because like this you get the most flavor out of them. So I'm going to add it right away with my onions. So here we have to be a little bit of patience. So that means we're going to let it cook for 2-3 minutes. And then we're going to add our garlic and we will add our mushrooms as well. 2-3 minutes have passed. So now I'm going to add my garlic and I will add my mushrooms as well. So 2 cloves should be roughly 1 teaspoonful. But obviously if you love garlic you can add much more. So maybe I will add a little bit more. So this I'm going to continue saute. And as you can see, I have the offcuts of the aubergine, which I didn't use earlier, and I will cut this into smaller pieces while this is frying because I don't want to waste anything, and we can still add it to this dish. You might now wonder, this is maybe too much bitterness or something. It's just from the outside, so it's a little bit. So a little bit of the bitterness, it doesn't really matter. So now I'm going to add my aubergine and my baby marrow, and I'm going to continue cooking. So only once you have all your ingredients in, that's when you add your salt, because you don't want the moisture to come out before, otherwise you can't saute them properly. So if you like a little bit of more hot food, you can use cayenne pepper. Because this is for me more Mediterranean approach, so I would only use black pepper and salt on this dish. Good to have patience, so let it rather cook a few more minutes so the aromas can come around. And then we will add our tinned tomato and our other ingredients. I'm just going to quickly hop into the garden and I will fetch some freshly rosemary, which will add a special dimension to this dish. My mixture has cooked nicely now, so that's the point where I'm going to add my tinned tomatoes to the mixture. If you don't want to use tinned tomato, you can use fresh tomatoes, but then I would recommend that you are peeling your tomatoes because it's not nice actually if you have the skin on them. A little bit of water to wash it out because you don't want to waste anything. And now I'm going to break these tomatoes so that this becomes a nice juicy sauce. Now I have all my vegetables in and I'm going to add my rosemary. I always call them my little Christmas trees. We're not going to chop them up, we're going to put them in as a whole. So if we find at any point the flavor became too strong, we can take it out. As you could see, we also picked basil earlier. Basil we only add at the end for extra flavor, but I thought I'd pick it at the same time. So now we have to add some other flavors as well. We're going to add some balsamic, which is a bit more of a vinegary taste. You can use any other vinegar as well. It just brings out more the flavor of the tomato, and you need to have some sweetness. So I'm going to use some date syrup, but any syrup will do, or otherwise you can use sugar. I try to avoid using sugar as it is not the most healthiest option to use. And we're going to add as well nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast gives it that special flavor to it, and I'm sure you will just love it. Least but not last, we're going to add some nutmeg. Nutmeg comes out really nice with the Mediterranean flavors. Some people, they would never think so, but it really works well. Make sure you stir this mixture very well, and then we're moving it onto a very low temperature while we are going to continue our aubergine, and we're just going to let that simmering for plus minus 20 minutes, and then that should be ready. Let's have a look at our aubergine. And before we do that, let's switch on our pan so our pan becomes nice and hot so that we can start frying straight away. So I'm having some paper toweling here, and I'm going to take the excess water out where the bitterness is coming in. And once I've pat dried them, we can start frying them immediately. So you're actually going to see it's a lot of water coming out of here. Normal oil will do, but you can use olive oil, extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. I'm just using some sunflower oil for this. Very important, make sure that your oil is very, very hot. Otherwise the aubergine is just going to suck on all the oil and then your dish will be very oily, so that's not good for your hips. At this point, if you like, you can add a little bit of pepper. Obviously salt we don't need, as we added the salt already in the beginning. Maybe it helps to open the lid. So you just want them this lovely golden color. We take them out and we're going to fry all the rest. Little tip, if you don't like the oiliness, you can put a bit of paper towel on as well to get rid of the extra oil. While our sauce is still cooking, we are going to make our topping now. So I'm using almond flour or almond meal. You could use cashew nut instead if you don't like this, and I'm going to use tofu. So tofu, you can buy the ones in the packet. I'm going to the Chinese shop. They're making their own tofu, which is much cheaper, and I find it hasn't got all the preservatives in, so I prefer to use these. So I'm going to use my 250 gram of tofu with 100 gram of almond flour, which is just grated flour. Almonds, we use a teaspoon of mustard powder, a tablespoon of tomato sauce, and we are using as well some soya sauce, which is our saltiness. So we're gonna blend this together, and we use this to put on our topping for the moussaka. Let's start. Oh, and I forgot, a tablespoon of lemon juice. So when you're using lemon juice, you can just squeeze it out as it is. I have a muslin cloth here. This prevents pips to go into my tofu. That's okay. A little bit too much is fine. Oh, I should have kept some of this topping, and I'm going to take some out, so this will add a little bit of crunchiness to the top. So don't add all of it like what I did now. And now I have a lovely tasting paste which I can put on top. Let's just check if the salt is alright, and let's see. I love this stuff. Let's check our tomato things, because I'm sure this is finished cooked, and let's see if we need to add any salt or any pepper. Consistency looks perfect, so this is exactly what I was looking for. If you find you made it a little bit too dry, you can add some water to this and let it cook a little longer. If you find it is still a bit too runny, put it on high heat, no lid, and you cook it a little bit longer so you get this right consistency, which is very important. It's very good, just very hot. I just burned my tongue now. I might have to add a little bit of salt, so I find it needs a little bit of more saltiness, otherwise it just tastes delicious. At this point as well, I'm adding my fresh basil. You can chop it or just rip it apart and add it in, so this gives the last minute freshness. And when we find our pieces of rosemary, we're going to take them out. We don't want to add them into the dish. So you can see as well, I have already now my container where I'm going to layer my moussaka, and as well my other two ingredients ready. So now we are starting to assemble. First I'm adding my tomato paste, or not tomato paste, my tomato mixture cooked. Then I'm adding my aubergine, again a mixture of this, and then we top it off with our tofu. So as you see, we're not adding any carbs, so this is really good if you are on a carb-free diet or something. Perfect for this. Great. All layers are in. I'm quickly washing my hands, and then we're going to put our topping on. To spread it even, best is to use a spatula. You could use a spoon if you don't have one, whatever floats your boat. And now I'm adding my remaining little bit of almond on top. This will just give it a little bit more crust. Okay, I switched on my oven already, which is at 180 degrees on top and bottom. And we are going to put this now in our oven, and it will take 20 minutes, and then our delicious vegan moussaka will come out. Now my vegan moussaka is ready and I look forward to eat it now. Thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. Please let me know in the comments below how this recipe worked out for you. If you have any suggestions or anything what you would like to see in the future, please leave me a comment below. I'm happy to do this for you. Please subscribe to my channel to be notified of future videos.